All right, we'll go ahead and welcome everybody and open up this hearing. And I'll start by reading the public notice. Notice is hereby given that the following hearing will be held in the Bonneville County Courthouse, 605 North Capitol in Idaho Falls. And the date at the time of the hearing is Wednesday, August 21st, 2024 at 1:30 p.m. by the Bonneville County Commissioners. I understand that this was rescheduled just because of a conflict, an error that had happened. But notices were resent and everybody should have been notified for the hearing today. The purpose of the hearing is in relation to the application by Eagle Rock Engineering on behalf of Rockwell Homes, Inc. for a rezone from A1 to R1, R1.5, R2, and C1. And the general location is 3907 East Ryrie Highway, Idaho Falls, on the north side of the Ryrie Highway, east of the North Yellowstone and west of 45th East. The notice then gives legal description as well as information of how to attend and testify at the hearing. And this was signed by Austin Black, our Bonneville County Planning and Zoning Administrator, and it was published on August 6th, 2024. In attendance, we have all three commissioners as well as our administrative staff from our office. We also have Austin Black, the Planning and Zoning Administrator, as well as his senior staff. And this matter was actually heard by our planning and zoning on June 26th. And at that time, they recommended approval to the county commissioners on a 3-2 vote. We have all of the minutes and information from that meeting. And without objection, they will be entered into the record today. And we will use them, the information from that hearing in our decision today. So I believe with that, we can go ahead and get started. I think we're turning time over to Michelle Hagan.
Yes,
From the Planning and Zoning Office to explain the application.
thank you. Michelle Hagan with Planning and Zoning. Well, this is an application by Eagle Rock Engineering on behalf of Rockwell Homes for a zoning map amendment from A1 to a C1, R1, R1.5, and R2 zones. Properties located on the north side of Highway 26 and east of the area known as Beaches Corner. The property was the subject of a rezone application in 2022 from A1 to an R1.5 and an R1. That request was denied and the finding of fact was part of the hearing packet. The applicants have submitted a new application that is before you today, and they have tried to address the reasons for the denial of the original request. The request includes approximately 142 acres, specifically light commercial, the C1 for 30 acres, R2 is 21.9 acres, R1.5 is about 20 acres, and the R1 is proposed for a little over 69 acres. The land use designation is mixed use, as you can see on the slide. The pink color and the adjacent land uses are mixed use and agriculture is to the north. The proposed zones are allowed to be considered within the mixed use land use designation. However, that does not mean it should automatically be approved. The adjacent zoning districts are A1, R1.5, HC1, and C2 is across the Highway 26. There are multiple subdivisions in the area which are commercial or residential uses. The application states that the development would be serviced by Iona Bonneville Sewer District and Falls Water. The applicant has submitted will serve letters from Iona Bonneville Sewer District and Falls Water. Those, I believe were submitted to us last week. So the Planning and Zoning Commission did not have those in their review. The request includes C1 zone for an average depth of 400 feet along Highway 26. The C1 zone provides an area where the primary use is for retail stores and service establishments selling the kind of goods and services required to fill the need for daily household goods and personal services of the people living in the surrounding area. The proposed R2 zone allows for single-family dwellings, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. The proposed R1.5 zoning district allows for single-family dwellings and zero lot line twin homes. And the proposed R1 zoning allows for single-family dwellings. The comprehensive plan has compatibility decisions that should be considered in all map amendments. These include looking at compatibility to adjacent uses, as well as determining if the proposed change would create undue concentrations of uses which would destroy living quality, congest thoroughfares, or overload public facilities. The proposal must consider protecting the adjoining uses and lot compatibility qualities. The proposal includes the commercial zoning along the highway, which is consistent with the county requirements along Highway 26 in this area. The proposed rezone increases the residential density in the area. The property is existing farm ground. The board needs to determine if this request is still peripheral expansion or if it is an area of infill. Consideration needs to be made for the proposed residential density expansion regarding the ability to provide all essential services such as schools, police, fire, solid waste and roads, water and sewer systems in the area, and the distance from essential services is a consideration for this request, as well as the impact to the roads and access to the highway. A letter was provided from Idaho Transportation Department. Comments were provided from Public Works regarding the proposed development, and those were in the hearing packet. The past comments were included in the staff report. And this included an email regarding the need for a traffic impact study prior to submission of a preliminary plat, which can be required by a governmental agency in the access management plan. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing on June 26, 2024 for the request and recommends approval of the request from A1 to the C1, the R1, the R1.5, and the R2, with notes from Road and Bridge and the notes from planning staff to be addressed. In addition, that before a preliminary plat is presented, a traffic study is done. There also needs to be consideration of items mentioned by the Planning Commission that evening that are put into place with the development agreement, specifically that the uses in the commercial zone will be retail uses that support the community and not be developed with industrial uses, and something in writing from the Sheriff's Department, and the motion passed with a 3-2 vote. And the typical conditions that we had for all rezoning: buffering where adjacent to existing commercial zoned properties and or the A1 property comply with requirements with Public Works, and the traffic impact study of the area and the area intersections and plating would be required. Are there any additional questions for me today?
Questions? No.
Okay.
No, thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and invite the developer or his representative to come on up. We need your name and address.
Awesome, thank you. And this is the first time I put a PowerPoint together to easily present this to you. So thanks, Austin, for getting that in there. So we're excited to bring this project again. It's been a couple years. I think we found out a lot of things in the last couple years. We've done a lot of due diligence in the last couple of years. And things have just happened and changed in our community, so we thought it was a good time, again, to bring this project back. Again, we're very excited about this project for multiple different reasons. One is just the fact that it's 142 acres of ground that we can bring affordable housing to our area, as it's getting less and less affordable here, and ground inner city is getting more and more expensive. This brings an affordability back for us, so we're excited for what we do and to be able to do it out here for our community. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I wanted to just point out a few things that have changed since 2022 when I brought this in 2022. That was one of the things that P&Z had and kind of brought up multiple times. Well, what's changed? What's changed? And I didn't have this PowerPoint then. I wish I would have, because I could kind of better explain myself and explain in a better way what has changed. So since we brought in the 22 application, we've had we increased our commercial area along the highway to meet that better to what the county was wanting along the highway. We had some residential along it. We took that out and made it all commercial. We actually have made it deeper than what has been approved across the street at Beach's Corner. So we actually have a deeper commercial area. We've had multiple meetings with and a signed letter from ITD, which you guys have in your packets, which was the biggest concern, or one of the largest concerns that we had at the commissioners meeting was this peripheral in regards to ITD. We have had multiple meetings with them, both with staff and by ourselves, but staff has been there as well. And ITD at this time is good with moving forward with the project. We've had confirmation, let's see, from the engineers to hold off on the traffic study. At one point, we were getting told we need to do that traffic study before we propose this zoning. After we've kind of gone back and forth, staff and what we've got back from even Lance was saying that it probably does make more sense once we get it zoned, then let's do a traffic study and see what that preliminary plat will bring in regards to traffic. So we'll do that traffic study and we'll meet what ITD needs and what the county needs for the traffic study based off of the counts. We've contacted fire and police. Police, I've talked to Sam Schultz a couple times on the phone. He was actually one that sent a representative in 2022. After I've talked to him and explained the situation, I've sent him kind of our preliminary plat or an idea of what we're looking at. And his biggest concern was traffic. He just said, I don't know how that all works. I just was concerned, so I sent my guy to represent us in 2022. Now, since then, I've sent him 3 emails trying to get a letter, but we haven't got any physical letter from him. But he has not sent any representatives to this meeting, nor has he sent one to the previous P&Z meeting, which tells me that I've asked for continual feedback, and since then he hasn't given any.
We actually, I'll just let you
Oh,
know, there is
yes.
actually, it looks like I see a captain from our.
Oh, there you go. We got somebody.
Just so you.
There we
know.
go. Yes, I didn't know if
Be
he was
careful
here.
what you say.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have reached out to police multiple times. Fire department, I've actually attached it to the slide, and we also, since, so this is the first time that Falls Water and IBSD have both been asked for a commitment to serve before a zoning has been committed. So it was very difficult to get these letters. It wasn't super easy because they don't want to commit something too far out. And they don't want to have to put in the effort and the time, energy to do that. And so they said, we've never done this before, but we know that we can service those areas and we will write those letters. We have obtained those signed letters and those are in your packets as well. So we have complied with those things that have been asked us. Yeah, let's go to the next one. So I love this letter from the fire district because it did actually teach me a lot about how they get their funds and how they work with what they do. And I think you guys have seen this letter. We've included it in your packets as well, but I did want to just put this up here, the signed letter from Keith Banda for fire, and that they had adequate fire services for the area. And actually looked forward to the opportunity to have this so they can build their district here as well. So I did like his energy from that, and I hope that you guys were able to see that as well in his letter. Yeah, let's do the next one. I just wanted to point out a lot of the surrounding zones, because I feel like that's kind of been missed in the previous presentations. Even with planning and zoning, I feel like we didn't get our time, or we couldn't pull this up to show the zonings around it. And what I did is I pulled back just a little bit to show the area, the overall area. When you zoom in and everyone says Beach's Corner, when I grew up, Beach's Corner was in the middle of nowhere. And you guys, probably even before that, it was nowhere. Like Beach's Corner was Beach's Corner. It's where you went and you took your RV to get it to drop your sewage, right? That's what Beach's Corner was. Beach's Corner has changed, and not just Beach's Corner, but everything around Beach's Corner has changed. And that's what I wanted to present. When you do a zoom out on Beach's Corner, you can see the residential that has come all the way up around it. The Beach's Corner project, which is kind of right by her cursor right there, that purple, that one's actually begun. They're actually starting to frame. They don't have the infrastructure yet, but they have begun framing that. So we do have residential coming straight across the street from us. So I just wanted to do a zoom out and show everybody what area we really are looking at. It's no longer Beach's Corner that's out in the middle of nowhere. Beach's Corner is part of where we are. And if you live out there, you know that. And let's go to the next one. So this just shows you a lot of the subdivisions all the way around it. I actually didn't label the one right next to it, Freedom, but I think we all know about that one. So we are surrounded on every corner with either residential or commercial. This parcel is not out in the middle of nowhere. The only thing that's separating us from is the highway. And then we have all the family residencies on this side of us. Okay, let's do the next one. So what I did is I took this and I did our proximity to town. And if you look at it, again, we've taken this project and we said, is this too far out there? I wanted to show how far out there it is not. When you're out there, you know. We're 847 feet from the closest residence that is being built right now, as framing is being done as we speak. We're 847 feet from that. We're 1,000 feet from 49, from the Wolf Creek subdivision. We're only 1,000 feet. You can literally throw a rock as far as you want, and you're going to hit our subdivision from Wolf Creek. You can see it right through there. So the fact is, we are not too far out. What I wanted to also point out was the police station. So the police station, as we know, on Lincoln Road, and then on Ammon Road, we have the fire station, which is actually even closer, but I just took the police station so that we had that one. So if you take the police station from our project, let's say police station to Hatch Hollow is 13,500 feet. We are 13,700 feet from the police station to Heritage Heights, this proposed subdivision. We're almost identical in the distance for a police officer to go from one to the other. So I wanted to show the proximity to our town, to our services. Now the fire department is even a little bit closer. They're relatively close together. I think you guys know that. So I just did the police station at this time. Let's do the next one. I wanted to show everyone where we had access to water and sewer. I actually, Eagle Rock pointed out, we actually have even a bigger line in the middle of my two upper ones. There's another 12-inch water line that I didn't put on there. But I just wanted to show what we have out there is what we've been working off of, and my family's been working off of for the past 25 years. Follow the sewer, follow the water. Bonneville County has allowed us to develop when the sewer and water is right there with us. You can see here, now that we have this approved subdivision across the highway from us, we have a big water line coming from there. After I've talked from Falls Water, they're super excited about that. And then we have 3 water lines coming up the side as well as sewer in every spot. So we have access to sewer in multiple locations, not just one location, not just a stub out to our property, but we have access to water and sewer from multiple locations where we need to pull it, which is what we've done for 25 years, is follow the water, follow the sewer. Okay. One thing that has been touched on a lot, which we put a lot of time and energy into finding this. It's not super findable, if I could say that, in how road and bridge is funded. Lots of people have question marks at the state level, county level. I've called treasurer, I've called a lot of places, met with a lot of different people, Dustin Barron, everybody to get our facts straight. So one of the big things was road and bridge put in here saying, well, how do we plow? How do we maintain it? How do we keep up? Well, I've been told over and over again that they do not get funds from property taxes, which we'll see in here isn't 100% true. We do get some funds to service road and bridge from property taxes. We do get it from the state and the fuel tax and the highway tax. So in here, I have, let's go to the next slide. We'll kind of skim through these, but here's a breakdown of the property taxes, and what's allocated to Bonneville County Road and Bridge. And there is a small portion of every property tax. So when we say, how are they going to fund this? I can't say exactly how that's going to be left down to Road and Bridge of how they budget their things. That I can't tell them how to do it. I just know that they will have an increase of funds from this project. They will have an increase of funds coming to Road and Bridge from the project. This shows the percentage from our county, just from our county property taxes and the levies that are currently running. And if we go to the next one, the local highway distribution revenues, we have fuel tax registration fees, the TECM, which I learned more and more about, the state general funds. These are all referenced from the IAC, and the link we can follow, we can get their slideshows through this. If we go to the next one, here's kind of a breakdown of highway distribution formula. This was what I was trying to accomplish the whole time, is getting how is the county gets a check from the state, but how is that formula calculated? How are they getting to the point like, hey, here's what you get for your county for roads? This IAC was perfect. It gave us all the information that we needed to help us understand that our project will not as much be burden as an asset to our county for residents. And also we will be receiving more funds to help our road and bridge do what they do. So you can see in here, 70% to the, so as we go from the highway fees, it breaks it down 70% to the counties and the highway districts. From there, it says 50% is based on registration fees and 50% based on road miles. So we can see as we're getting it, you're understanding that your registration fees go up. The more people that move into the county, we are getting more fees that go to our counties for road and bridge, for the maintenance of road and bridge, both for constructing and for maintenance of. On the next slide, it'll do a breakdown even further for the county transportation funding. And it just breaks down where the funds are coming from, how much the funds are coming from, and what source. It's good to see, based off of the previous calculation, that the biggest percentage of what we're receiving is coming off of our registration fees. 50% from that and 50% from the mileage of the roads. If we do the next one, here's our revenue sharing, which is another one that contributes to county funding, the revenue sharing formula. So here's the formula the state uses for sharing the revenues from the state. So you can see as they break it down, the 47.1 to counties, then the revenue sharing 30,000 each county plus an excess apportioned by population. As our county grows, we are apportioned more funds from our revenue sharing formula from the state. And of that, we allocate those to different aspects of what we do or what's inside the county, but we do allocate to road and bridge from that. So as we increase our population, we are apportioned funds from the state to help with that. Okay, let's go next one. And I wanted to just end, this is the last slide. So this is the longest presentation I've ever done. So thank you for bearing this with me. But the biggest thing, ever since my family has started Rockwell Homes, the biggest thing we have been able to do is bring affordability to our county residents. And I think each of you have kids that have had to buy homes, or one of your kids' friends has had to come back and buy a home. They moved to Utah, they went to school, or they got a job somewhere else or an internship, and they're coming back home. But the affordability is what we're striving for. So we zoned this to accomplish that exact thing. We zoned it to get us some multifamily. For those that can afford a multifamily, they're coming back, they have one child. We did townhomes in the 1.5. That's gonna be those kids that maybe want to buy a place that's a little more expensive and they want to rent it out in the future, or they have a few more kids and they don't want as many walls. And then we did the R1 to account for those that are moving back that have a salary that can afford to build the R1. But with this property, we are going to be able to bring back affordability to our county residents. It is very difficult. I'm saying that because the cities are pushing super hard on what their agendas. And in the county, this is an opportunity for us to build affordability. And it's an amazing opportunity. And I think it's something that our citizens are for. And the reason I want to say that is, do I have one more slide? If not, I might not have put it in here. But I wanted to note that we have brought this to now 3 public hearings. We don't have citizens showing up at these hearings. We have not had citizens show up and oppose our project. We have not. We have published it. We have talks of it. I have talked to many residents that opposed our Wolf Creek. The Wolf Creek, when we came in for the higher density, those same citizens are getting these same things. It's been posted to their Facebook. I have talked to Kendall Rice, which was a very big pusher. She was a very big pusher on the Wolf Creek high density, opposing it. We don't have people opposing this project because we can bring affordability to them and to their families. And I think this is a project that the county could be proud of. Rockwell Homes, we have a great plan for this area. We're gonna beautify the area, and we're gonna build homes that last. And I think each of us can see that in the projects that our family has built over the last 25 years. That's my presentation, and I know you guys will have stuff to say. So I do have the engineers here as well. So if we have questions
Thank you.
deeper.
Let's see if we have some questions for you first.
I'm just assembling.
Commissioners.
If you want to go first.
Questions? Okay. Well, the one question that I had was just something that you had said. So when you were talking about affordability, you said cities are pushing hard on their agendas. I'm not sure what you meant by that.
Well, each city has their way of how they have to, in their building permit fee or their impact fees, or just their fees that they're pushing out towards fire, police, parks, everything. We have more fees coming from cities than we are from our county. And so we can build a more affordable home. We can bring our price down if we can build out in the county. It is just getting more and more expensive inside each city. Each city is gonna be different. I think you guys each know that. Ammon has what they're pushing for. Idaho Falls has what they're pushing for. Idaho Falls is just doing it in a different way. Ammon does it in their way. And so in Iona, they're kind of in a limbo right now because they have a water survey going on right now that's kind of put a curtailment. They're just not doing any building or development right now and haven't been for 6-8 months.
So are you saying that the cost of building in the cities is gotten to a point that it's driving you outside?
I would say it is to bring affordability. I feel like we can bring that price down coming out to the county. Yes. Our Hatch Hollow product and our Berkeley Park product, our Sierra Springs, that we sell those because of affordability. People are coming out of college, they don't have as much money. That is where they start their homes. Now they might move on to a different subdivision inside the county or move outside the county at that point, but it is getting more difficult. And that's what I love about this project is we don't have our Hatch Hollow anymore. We don't have our Berkeley Park, our Green Valley. Those are gone. And so we don't have a product outside of the cities right now that can help us bring back a more affordable product. Yes.
Okay, right.
Just a quick question. I know
All things are subject to change, which projected price mark on the multiple families and the twin.
Right now in Ammon, I know we're 330 to
In this
3.
project.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna compare to what we are there. We're about 330 to 350 on multifamily and townhomes. I think we can get this project down between 10 and 15,000 less than what we were able to sell out there.
Oh, any other questions?
I have one, I'm gonna piggyback off what you started talking about, but on a little different tangent. When this was proposed before, one of the concerns was the density and the number of doors out there. Do you remember how many doors, projected in the last presentation 2 years ago?
No, I do know it's less just because we increased our commercial.
That goes to my next question, but, does the engineer have any idea what you were looking at?
Before,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I want to say it was 600-700 doors.
Yeah, I don't think we have,
Before, I don't think it's that many now.
but it wasn't, I don't recall.
Let's make sure that was Kurt Rowland.
Kurt Rowland, Eagle Rock Engineering.
That's on your recollection. Now this, where, you proposed the C1, R2, R1.5 and R1. What will the number of doors be reduced to?
We haven't got to our preliminary, again, we're just focused on zoning at this time.
You can get an estimate based on the number of acres and the number of homes, depending on how you divide the lots. That's all I'm looking for, is a number of how much it's reduced.
Yeah, I mean, everything's rough numbers, so I don't think we'd be able to count, because last time was preliminary plat, we don't have a preliminary plat on this one.
I want to say 100, 150 probably, but less. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, because we weren't doing preliminary plat yet, just because we didn't have our traffic study. So we haven't, yeah,
So what you have proposed has dropped it by about 25% on the number of doors, correct?
yeah, I don't know if I would go as far as 25%. I don't think we're 20, because we added,
150 off 600,
yeah,
just a rough.
yeah.
Anyway, it's gonna be a significant number.
Yeah, 'cause- Yes, it is, because we did have a lot more commercial in this one than we did the other one, probably twice as much.
The next question, because you talk, I would refer to as stereotyped communities. You call it affordability, but to gain that affordability, some other entities, primarily the two cities, major cities, are going with a very high percentage of multifamily housing.
They are,
There's a lot of those coming up.
yeah,
I don't know how to get any, Austin may track some of that more to find out how many of those we built. And, at some point, you're kind of
saturated,
stereotyping and
Yeah.
saturating market, our market being a much broader community.
yeah,
Than each of those. And, one thing I'm concerned with is, I think we refer to as stereotype, we try to avoid stereotyping neighborhoods. Freedom Acres has a large number of multifamily. And then down to 1.5.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, the R2 in this would add probably quite a few more doors to it, but it also doesn't provide the variety of Freedom Acres next door. And I'm trying to tie all this together because, you've got Island Bonneville commitment, correct?
Mhm.
Now, Austin sent out the service area map for Island Bonneville, and this would go up to the boundary of that, with no future ability to expand to the north or to the east.
Correct, as of right now, they're capped with their agreement with Idaho Falls, yeah.
Yeah, so this project has been annexed into IPSD.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what the current, did you put a slide of that in?
I
I
didn't,
didn't know, I just sent the map
Anyway,
to the
Board,
board.
when I look at that, it pretty much fills up this project.
yeah,
And that area is kind of, I don't know a better word, it's finally infill. Because you don't
Yeah.
have the ability to grow it.
yeah, and we've understood that as well.
You know that, like you guys have probably heard, I'm sure, or you know, that IBSD is. They're gonna do their own wastewater treatment plant.
Which is many, many years down the road.
Yeah,
And this,
yes,
this project's probably a 7 to 8 to maybe even 10-year project, don't you think?
yeah, but they have the capacity now with their current,
Right, but I'm just
with their
saying,
current,
That's all.
I'm just saying for more growth.
yeah,
We're not concerned with that, we're dealing with what's on the ground now.
Right.
So the, service area, so, you know, the maps that you guys see, that attachment they sent, this lines up, so it would basically be what I was infill.
Yeah.
Without the ability to go until sometime in the future.
yeah,
But you can't go buy a piece of property next to it and come in because there's no services.
yeah, exactly, yeah, IBSD couldn't put it in if they wanted to right now, like Kurt said, maybe in the future for their expansion project.
Yeah,
But-
the distance, that within 1,000 yards, you could throw a rock.
I can throw a rock about 847 feet. I saw your face when I said it. When you're standing there, it feels like you can just throw a rock to it. Or slingshot, there you go.
My niece-
Something by hand, I could get it there.
My niece is married to Porter Clayton and he couldn't throw.
Oh, Porter, he's got a soft arm now, though. Maybe 5 years ago, I'm just kidding. He's a good buddy of mine.
This is Austin, just off of rough estimate, I took the frontage of the property along the highway, which is about 2,800 feet. Times that by 250, considering the doubling the commercial in size, you end up with about 700,000 square feet. Took that for the minimum lot size of our 1.5, which is what was proposed before, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
by about 130 doors.
I knew it was a lot of doors. I just didn't know the exact, yeah.
That's the 1.5 or the 2.
That's what the last application was
Yes.
for 1.5, so that would have cut them by 130 doors. And the 2 allows them a little more flexibility for units. I can do a little figuring why you can
The
do
2 is
it
basically
here.
multifamily.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a,
Question line.
yeah,
Which quite honestly is one of my concerns, because if you're trying to get a broader community, you don't want to stereotype it. And I'm concerned with the overall building of multifamily apartment houses.
yeah.
Freak makers.
Yeah, ours are a little bit different. I don't know if you've seen, we have a project over on the corner of Hitt and 49th South. We do definitely a different product. We did some right by Woods Funeral Home. We've done some out in Yukon, the Yukon ones. Definitely a different product than what Freedom Acres is. Now, yes, it's R2, but what we build is not what's being built out there. We're not doing that.
Those fit in an R1.5.
We'll just have to have you come up later. I don't want to open this up to a lot of crosstalk. We're trying to record
Yeah,
this, so
what they
let's
do
do
is-
one at a time.
They do townhomes, not apartments.
We'll have you up as well, Kurt. Let's keep it focused.
Yeah. So talking about now, the reason why we zoned it like this is also because of the buffering, right? You always want to buffer between your commercial and your 1.5 and your 1s. So the buffer is coming off of the highway, you do commercial R2, R1.5 and R1. So as you move back, you do less dense. And so that's what we've done is we've included the R2, the 1.5 and the 1, just to meet. Yes, do we get a few more units in there? Yes. Do we get a few more families that can get an affordable 3-plex or duplex or 4-plex? Yes. They'll be individually sold, not as the huge buildings at Freedom. So it's definitely a different product that's going to be built there. And you can see it by what we've built. We've built 150, 200 of them in the last 18 months. So you can see going off of the C1, you go to R2, R1.5, and you put the R1 back behind because of the highway traffic, and you're just moving it back. You're just scaling it back. It's what's done all over the United States. You start with commercial R2, R1.5, R1, and you just start scaling it back.
But, you know, one of the tools that we have is to take a look at that and decide what's appropriate. You know, if it were to be a combination of R.1, so R.15 instead of the R.2 and R2 and the R1 kind of divided proportionally. That would be more like a Berkeley Park. Correct?
I guess I'm proportionate, because our R1 is definitely our largest one, R1.
And this is just a what if, you know.
Yeah.
You take the box for the R1.5 zone, you know, you're gonna have some kind of drainage on that if you kind of took the drainage buffer between the R1.5 and the R1 with the drainage in the middle and kind of split that in two. Is that a viable option? And having the bottom half kind of from that light line be R1.5 and above it be R1?
So yeah, so you're saying get rid of R2, make that 1.5, and then above the R2 up, be R1?
Just for the density and the stereotyping concerns.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, see, that zoning that R2 butts up against is also R2.
Correct.
So I've,
But that
I-
also.
yeah,
Talking the step down from the R2, R1.5 to R1.
yeah. I feel like we're just matching what has already been approved. I feel like we're doing, yeah. Could we? Yes. I mean, we can do anything, but
Yeah, that's not making me, I'm just exploring.
yeah, now when you say stereotyping, that's to everyone's own interpretation, correct?
I think that's the best.
Yeah,
But when I look around City of Idaho Falls right now, you wonder when they're gonna be overbuilt on
Yeah.
multi-family housing, because that's the majority of what's going in out there.
yeah. I think for me, what I would say in regards to what we do. Now, if this was R2, but there's an overload of multifamily as we watch the market. We can replat that to anything less than R2. So, because the biggest thing that we do in Rockwell Homes is we do not want to build something that is not going to sell. We can't keep moving our business forward if we're sitting on a lot of inventory because it's been saturated. So we watch the market, and we've actually pulled back a little bit on our R2 for that reason. We're watching to see what these other big projects are doing, and some are coming to fruition and some are fizzling away. So we do watch that constantly and seeing what is happening and if they're selling and not selling. So if there is a big saturation of it and it's not moving, we won't build it because we can't afford to build it. So I guess what I'm saying is in that aspect, we would not build something that would ever sit vacant. We would make sure we're pre-planning to say, yeah, this needs to be we need to do these in townhomes, not fourplexes, or we need to move that buffer down and do more single family, because that's what's selling right now. And that's what our area is needing. So we definitely do watch it, and we build what we know people are going to need or hope that they need.
Thanks for indulging me trying to get inside your head.
Yeah.
One last thing to make sure of is a traffic study. If approved in the traffic study, the traffic study will primarily be dealing with the access on US 20, which may require ITD for you to some type of improvements.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. We've spoke with them and we've kind of talked to them. We have a lot of traffic counts already because they have a lot of traffic counts. So we kind of understand where they're at. Now, we haven't done a full traffic study, But we've been in communication with them on what they think they would be wanting to see out there based off what we presented. But yeah, we have been in talks with them quite a bit of what they think that would look like now.
Sorry it takes so much time, but that.
No, that's fine.
No,
Thank you. for your-
Yeah.
Just one thing that I wanted to add, I was just doing a little comparison as you were talking, R 1.5, R2. I looked at their product in Ammon, which obviously we don't know what exactly that's going to end up being. But those fourplexes are built on 4 lots that roughly equal about 19 or 20,000 square feet. The R 1.5 zone for a shared lot line twin home is 5,200 square feet for each side, so you're 10.4. So by the time you really get down to it, what you could put 4 twin homes on is 21,000 square feet. What you can put a fourplex on, if they're built in this configuration, granted they could do something totally different, you would be similar density if it was the same product as Ammon. If it's a different product, it could increase drastically, but that was just a little reference to kind of give you an idea of. And I don't know what their plan is, obviously, but if that's something the commission was considered or was worried about, that could be a condition in the R2 is a square footage size that would be similar to an R 1.5 zone that allows the flexibility of different types of units.
Other questions? So before we open up the public, your engineer, you want to take a moment now?
Yeah, just a couple of things.
Come on to the table if you would, so that
You want me to go back, stay?
you're,
Is it okay?
yeah.
Okay.
So, Kurt Rowland, with Eagle Rock Engineering, 1331 Fremont Avenue, Idaho Falls. So, just a couple things. Brad Kramer, before he left the city, they ran an analysis on how many homes they thought they would need. And they come out with a piece of paper they sent out to us. And they said they needed 2,500 doors a year for 5 years. And so how long has he been gone?
2 years.
2 years? And that's about what they're probably doing. And so I'm guessing if their study's correct, 3 more years, they still need 2,500 doors a year is what they're calculating.
Okay.
From,
Anything else?
just with the R2 and the R1 and the R 1.5. Idaho Fair Housing, you have to have diverse housing for everybody. And so that's what we're trying to provide. So,
Something that they can own.
right.
Ours are ownable. Those are rentable. Different product.
Questions for Mr. Rowland?
So that's all I have.
That's good.
All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and open the hearing up to the public. For anyone who would wish to testify.
Looks like somebody online, if you want to start with them.
Okay, we do have someone online. We welcome you. Would you like to testify?
Is that me?
Yes.
Yes, I would.
Would you give your name and address, please?
Yes, I'm on my daughter's computer, so it shows her name, but my name is Mary Mickulin. And my address is 4296 East Ryrie Highway, Idaho Falls, Idaho, 83401.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I have 2 questions for the county commissioners and Walkrell Incorporated. The first question hasn't even been touched on. It says, since all the building of the duplexes and businesses in the 1 mile area off the Ryrie Highway, myself and 7 other neighbors that live along the Ryrie Highway lose our power weekly, sometimes up to 36 hours. While the new development power is blinding to the eye while we sit in the dark. This is unacceptable. What kind of improvements to the power grid is planned for this large building development so this 1 mile section on the Ryrie Highway keeps the existing power that myself and my neighbors have been accustomed to for 50 years? My second question you touched on, but said it didn't need to be done until the the permit was finalized. But it takes me 10 minutes on the highway to sit and wait for traffic to clear at 65 miles an hour for me to be able to get out onto the Ryrie Highway. I want to know where the entrances for the new neighborhood and businesses will be. This will be a massive influx of traffic onto this 1 mile stretch of highway. I'd appreciate the answers to these before the power and the traffic is taxed by this big development.
Okay, thank you. They will have an opportunity to close this meeting and to testify, and if they choose, they can answer those questions at that time. Is there any other concerns or comments that you have? Are there any questions for?
Maybe just a comment for the online. I don't know, however, we have no jurisdiction or right of power. And certain what their plans are.
Yes.
I don't think, we're aware of, will be part of this record.
It's Rocky Mountain Power.
Rocky Mountain, yeah, Rocky Mountain Power. ITD, yeah, I think maybe Kurt could
Let's,
address the proposed.
well, we can have you do that at the conclusion after we finish the public testimony.
Sorry.
Not right now. We're gonna have you answer her questions when we conclude the public testimony. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to testify? Come on up to the table, your name and address.
Nate Clark, 5615 Cotton Tree Lane, Ammon, Idaho. I work for Rockwell Homes. Previously, I worked for Ball Ventures. From the area, love the area and love developing the area and plan to do it. And what I love about Rockwell and why I chose to partner with them and work with them is as mentioned, they provide a lot of affordability. But what I love that's maybe not happening with some of the other developers is they're providing opportunities for young people to build equity. For me, we moved from Ogden, Utah to Idaho because we couldn't afford a $300,000 starter home in 2018, and we could buy a starter home for $160,000 here. It jump-started my life, it jump-started my career, it allowed me to have more kids and be able to afford that. And I think having that ability to build equity and buy something is huge, and that's what Rockwell's providing is townhomes for sale, single-family homes for sale, and twin homes for sale. A lot of these other developers that we're mentioning, maybe from previous states, they're building large scale apartment complexes that are for rent. They're not bringing in taxpayers. They're not benefiting anyone who can come in and build equity. And a lot of them aren't providing local jobs. Some of the biggest benefits to Rockwell is their local employees, local subcontractors, and they're able to they're really building a big portion of our economy, and it's helping a ton. And just being in development and seeing that a lot of what Ball Ventures did, some of the bigger scale developments were a lot of builders coming out of Boise and coming out of Salt Lake. And it's really, I think it's an awesome opportunity for Rockwell to continue to build and keep things local and keep the economy kind of moving.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Clark? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public that wishes to testify? Oh, yes, Captain Glenn, come on up. All right, you can see it.
You're fine. I'm Tony Glenn. I'm a captain with the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office. On behalf of the sheriff and the sheriff's office, obviously the same concerns that we had with the letter that was produced 2 years ago. The majority of that concern was obviously the traffic as well, just like the resident spoke of. 100% correct. Beaches Corner is no longer out in the middle of nowhere. There is a ton of traffic there, obviously, in between that 49 North area all the way out to 45th East on Ryrie Highway, Highway 26. So obviously, we're concerned of any additional entrances, exits, whatever that's going to be onto that Highway 26 corridor. Just the potential for more nasty crashes as there already is in that same mile stretch is obviously the public safety concern that the sheriff's office has from that standpoint. Response wise, we're already responding to the area out there with the new Freedom Fields, I believe it is. Freedom Acres. Freedom Fields is elsewhere. Yeah, Freedom Acres, too many freedoms. We're already responding out there as it is. Yeah, it's taxing on us. But the one thing about the responses, it's not necessarily also the distance from where we respond to, but it's the amount of call load that we're responding to and what that call load is going to do to the rest of the call load, the rest of the wait times. Factor that into our response times as well, not just the distances, but we're not against development at all as far as the sheriff's office goes. We understand that's part of growing and that's what's going to happen. We just want it to be done with the best interest of public safety at the forefront of what's happening.
Okay, thank you for that input. Is there any questions for Dr. Glass?
Just a counter comment. Are there ever too many freedoms?
Subdivisions, freedom subdivisions, different kind of freedoms.
Just wanted to make sure you were speaking correctly.
Yeah, different kind of freedoms, sir.
All right, thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. Anybody else from the public? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public comment portion and turn some time back to developer or engineer to kind of answer the questions that was posed.
Do you have access to that PowerPoint where it shows the,
And,
the overall, with the, all the subdivisions around it? With the Freedom Acres,
Curtis's,
I don't have a pointer or anything.
Right, they don't work on TVs.
What's that?
They don't work on TVs.
No, that's true. They don't do that.
They
They
don't?
don't, with the stick, you know.
Oh, really? I didn't think about that.
that one.
I won't touch the screen, but I'll show you. So once Rockwell development is starting to fill out, this, there's a road right there.
Right behind that blue, isn't it?
Yeah, and then one right there where it curves around, that actually stubs into there. So that access will go right to, this Highway 43.
Yeah.
You'll go right to Highway 43 and then up there on the north where it curves around, that's a stub also that goes in rock. And that'll go out, so you'll have.
Here,
Yeah, right, we have
So
that.
you have-
There's 3 accesses there.
So you can see where the two paved are coming out onto Highway 43.
Where's, I think the bigger concern was the
It's on-
Prairie Highway one, where's that one at?
Right, but I think a lot of people start using those accesses once, that way they won't all be coming out on to
Right,
this access right here.
I think it's actually even, is it before the house or after the house curve? It's 2,600, had to be at least 2,600 feet
From
from
this one.
that entrance. And we only get one entrance onto the highway. Based off of ITD.
Highway 26.
Yes, sorry, yes, on the Highway 26.
And
Yes,
they're making us,
thank you.
they'll make us put turn lanes in and everything.
Acceleration lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like they've done with the plazas down the street. They've done the same thing, acceleration, deceleration lanes. In regard, so I hope that helps on traffic. So traffic will be assessed with the traffic study. And obviously with that, that's what we want to address for the police is, because that was Sam Holz's biggest thing is like, hey, we just want to know that people are safe out there with traffic. And that's what that traffic study will do. And that's what ITD's main accomplishment. They want the same thing. So ITD definitely will hold us to the standard to make sure that those people, we have the right accessibility options there. So we'll have one entrance onto the Ryrie Highway and then we'll have 3 entrances going back that way. I see more people going back this way. Now the traffic study will tell us what they think.
So do you know where on Highway 26 that is going to be?
She can't see you.
So can you see her point? Can you see the pointer? I'll show
I
you.
can see the pointer, yes.
It is.
I just want to know
It's-
where.
It's further north.
Just tell me-
North, it's kind of that dry spot, north, right there. Yep,
Right,
Put a distance on it.
approximately there.
oh,
So,
thank you.
There.
Yep, that's right. Yep, right about that dry spot.
okay,
Yeah.
just before those 4 homes on the other side that's across from you. That are by
Yeah.
you, so it'll be just from them.
About in the middle.
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Single home.
right here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right down by all our houses. That's gonna be a traffic jam. Okay, thank you.
In regards to the power, Now, we don't have any control over the power, but I do know that every time a subdivision is done, we send in our plat. It goes to Rocky Mountain Power, they give it to their engineers, and their engineers size everything. We don't get any say on what size of power, what power, anything. We have to size it to what Rocky Mountain Power sees as fit. So
Okay,
Rocky Mountain Power has their engineers do all of that. I don't think it's just this area that's seeing outages with Rocky Mountain Power. We've seen it a lot throughout the area, not just out towards the Ryrie Highway, out towards Beach's Corner. Rocky Mountain Power has, yeah, they have their struggles too.
yeah, I finally called them because it's just a weekly thing between Beach's Corner and 45th East for us 8 homes. And they said it's normal, but then they went into my account and they about died when they saw how many times we've lost electricity. So
Oh,
they
wow.
started an investigation on it. I haven't heard back from them yet, but it is a big thing. It doesn't work for that mile stretch right there. Everybody else has electricity around us. I know everyone and I call them, and we're the only ones in that mile stretch that keep losing electricity.
And it is a possibility that maybe it becomes better as it's built out and we can bring more power towards you.
Right.
I don't know that, but I hope that they figure yours out.
Okay, we
Okay.
need to get back to the
Thank you.
hearing.
I'm just addressing her,
No, I understand.
her power issue. That
Okay,
was one of the
thank you.
questions she had.
Thank you.
So that was one of the questions, and then access to the highway, and then the traffic for the police, I think.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you have?
No, I think that was.
Are there other questions from the commissioners? So I've just got one, I guess. And you gave a very good PowerPoint presentation. Good job on that.
Thank you.
And I know that your purpose in that was to answer the question, what has changed?
Yeah,
I guess I would like just a summary from you, just a short
Yeah.
answer. Because in the conclusions of that other hearing, this was in the materials, the commissioners still believe that extending the more urban-like residential zones further east would be inappropriate at this time. And that the application is premature. So just short summary. Why is it not premature now?
well, 2 years have passed. A lot more a lot more of those units have been built out there. We have this project, the Beach's Corner project, that's been approved and is framing as we speak. In the 2 years, we've had a lot of building go on. We've had Wolf Creek build out, we've had Berkeley Park build out, Hatch Hollow build out. The projects have come closer in 2 years to where we are and where we stand today. And the projects that have been improved across the street. I think we didn't have those. I didn't have those to show we're infill. This is infill now. And you can see that even with IBSD's map, it really is infilling at this point where we have these projects right across the street. We didn't have those projects prior to.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions for
Just one,
Commissioner Walker?
I couldn't get back and forth to the map from your first one to see the difference in the commercial zone size. Is it the same as it was?
Our depth has increased and our length.
Michelle Hagan, there was no commercial in the 2022 proposal.
We didn't have any
No,
commercial.
there was no
That's-
commercial.
Oh, so it has increased substantially. For some reason, I thought we still had a sliver. I thought we had a sliver
There
there.
was nothing.
We had not, so we had R 1.5 up against the highway.
Yes.
I
So, yeah.
recall that was part of the buffering discussion we had
Yeah,
was, commercial,
we,
that to get that away
Yeah.
from the highway. And
yes,
I appreciate your presentation.
yeah,
Appreciate the information, your personality and your presentation
thank you.
and your passion.
Thanks. And I think, I hope that
Being
this,
a high school student.
I hope it shows that Rockwell wants to be part of this community. We've been asked to do the 500 feet of commercial. We are not commercial developers. So I'm looking at 20 acres of property that I'm thinking, what do I don't do this. So I've sacrificed, in my eyes, I'm like, man, there's 20 acres I don't really do anything. We have no plans. We have nothing. We are focused on everything behind it. Now we'll figure it out, but we're not commercial developers. That's not what we go look for. So we didn't do this for the money. We didn't do that. We wanted to build more homes, but to honor what the county has liked and what we've had staff report to us. We've honored that and we'll build out that commercial spot and we'll do our very best at it, but it definitely isn't what we do.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
With that, we'll go ahead and close this public hearing then. Thank you, everyone, for your testimony.